So welcome. My name is Paul with Business Club. I'm here today with Shannon Ferguson of FanSaves. So Shannon currently leads a growing team at the tech startup FanSaves as co-founder and CEO, matching her skills in sponsorship, sales, marketing, and advertising with her love of entrepreneurship. Helped her co-found FanSaves, a digital platform that connects sports fans with deals and offers from sponsors of their favorite teams. Shannon also has an education and background in communications studies, broadcast journalism, and has been the host of a cable TV show, hosted numerous television events, and is currently the co-host of the Living the Startup podcast. Shannon is also the 2021 Young Leaders of America's Fellow. So welcome, Shannon. Great to have you with us today.
Paul, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So Shannon, tell us. I mean, you've actually started a company from scratch, FanSaves, which is it's a very technical company, and tell us about that whole experience of starting a new company from scratch and how you built that up, because hardest thing is actually building a company from ground up, but you've achieved that. So tell us more about that experience.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience, and it's been so much fun, but it's the startup roller coaster, that's for sure. So, 4 years ago, my co-founder Chris and I, we were managing, the sales and marketing for two minor professional hockey teams. And we found that a lot of businesses, actually business owners, wanted more out of their sponsorship than just a rink board or a scoreboard ad. They wanted something that was digital, something that allowed them to track return on investment and customer demographics. And we didn't have anything like that. So we, even though we're non-technical co-founders, we thought, let's create an app. And from there, we actually started FanSaves. And yeah, we've grown now to a team of 10. And what we do is we have a platform, a digital platform that offers fans discounts and deals from sponsors and partners of their favorite teams.
Okay, excellent. So of course, this last year, there's been some pretty major changes for large events, sporting events. Tell me how that FanSaves has been able to make it through this transformational experience, and at the same time, we're at the tail end of things where we're starting to going to see things open up. People have been vaccinated. So tell us about you know where FanSaves have gone over the past year, and where are the next steps.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, fortunately, in 2019, we actually expanded out of just helping sports teams. So we started helping different verticals, anything that really relied on sponsorship, or membership. So chambers of commerce became a big partner of our partners of ours. BIAs, tourism groups, universities, colleges, events, and that actually helped us continue growing in 2020, even though technically we did face a huge uphill battle, like so many businesses, everything being closed, not just on the sports and the organization side, but also on the business side. So for us, actually, 10 days into the shutdown, we actually created our FanSaves Helps gift certificate program. We ended up helping over 630 businesses across Canada generate over $30,000 of revenue by being a venue or a place where people could buy gift certificates for local businesses. So that helped get us through, kept our brand relevant, and now we're back on the other side, and our focus is back on sports as venues and stadiums open back up.
Excellent. So if I'm run a chamber of commerce and I interested in working with FanSaves, I want to get into your program. What does that look like? And what are the sort of benefits, and what is that to get involved with your program?
Yeah, so what we're doing with Chambers of Commerce is digitalizing their member to member discount program. So if you are a chamber member or a Board of Trade member, we do work with the Ottawa Board of Trade, which has been an amazing partnership. If you are a member, you'll remember the old, kind of outdated card system or key tag system, and what a lot of these chambers and boards of trade realized was that those weren't working. And even when they were, even when people were using them, the business wasn't able to actually track who was coming in their store. They didn't know the gender or the age or where that person is from. So what we're really doing is bringing that component of the member to member discount program into the digital age and giving those members a way to better track uh, who is using their discounts and their deals, so they can enhance their marketing and their um, and their ways that they're communicating with their customers.
Okay, so by member to member services, so that would mean like as a member of board of trade, I get discounts at some other companies. Is that what that looks like at some other businesses?
So the really great part about FanSaves is that members can offer other members exclusive deals. So those deals are often bigger and better, but they can also offer public deals. So they can attract people that aren't chamber or board of trade members into their stores as well. So being a member of the public, even if you're not a chamber member or a board of trade member, you can still follow the board of trade page, support them. And then once you follow them, you get access to those discounts and deals to the public, while members get those juicier deals that are just available to other members.
Yeah, Yoshi, and I think that's a huge benefit for the Ottawa Board of Trade because I know it's been a tough year for a lot of businesses that are members. So having that additional benefit, I mean, they really need that help over this past year because potentially losing members because of the economic shutdown. So I mean, that's fantastic. Kudos to you guys for doing that. So Shannon, I know that you're also a real promoter of women entrepreneurs, female entrepreneur empowerment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your passion in that area?
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think for the past few years, it's coming more apparent to people that there is a kind of inequality, and for me, I've always often been the only woman in a room. Even going back to when I started playing hockey, I was one of two girls on an all boys team. So I was so used to it growing up. When I started my marketing career for an online sports book and sports marketing, I was often the only woman on my team and in the room. Um, and I didn't really recognize it. I just, I was there to do my job. And what I'm noticing now is that women do need to be empowered, not because they're women, but we just need to stand together and know that we have a voice, know that we have each other's back. There is a lot of unconscious gender bias that exists, and not just from men, but from other women towards other women. So my big thing is that, like, I being a competitive person, not just a woman, being just a person, um, I never want to be chosen or given an advantage because I'm a woman. I don't want, just because I check a box, I don't want to be chosen. I want to be chosen because I have the best product, service, I have the best anything to offer. Um, but what's happening is that women aren't starting at the same line. We're given off the bat an unfair advantage. So when I've been like learning more about this and talking more about it, I'm recognizing that it's not, we're not starting at the same line. So I'd love to just, what I'm using my voice for is to just make sure that, people know that women aren't looking for special treatment. They just want to start at the same starting line.
Hmm. And now, what do you think is the root cause of that? You're saying unequal treatment. Is it because of the whole, historical notion of women at raising the children, raising a family, spending more time at home? Like, is that kind of why do you think that there's unequal treatment there, or do you think it's there's like underlying, thoughts about the different genders? What do you think is the root cause of that the inequality?
I think it is ingrained. I think, you know, it's the way society, and especially in North America, has been for so long. And, yeah, you're right. Like back in the day, it was, the men were the breadwinners and the women stayed at home. But obviously that has changed. And, I've always said like, I, I was just raised to feel like I could do whatever I put my mind and my heart towards. And, you know, recognizing that a lot of women didn't have that same upbringing, that a lot of women, as girls were told, if they were loud, they were told they were bossy, they were told they were assertive, they were told, like it was a bad thing. They were told to sit down and be quiet, don't take up space. And that's still happening. So I think girls from a young age are taught a lot of things where it's like you need to be prim and proper. And I'm fortunate that I did have a lot of like society telling me to do that, but I was fortunate to have a mom, a single mother, an entrepreneur herself, who really taught me, it's okay to have a voice, and it's okay to speak up. But it actually took me until I was an adult to hone into what she taught me, because for a long time I didn't have a voice. I didn't use my voice.
Yeah, and I know what you're getting at too, and I think it's both, even for boys and girls, right? If young boys, if they cry, they're told to, stop, don't show your feel, stop crying. But then they tend to be more like eager, want to answer the question, like more boisterous, like then as you're saying, like younger girls tend to be, especially if they're insecure, can be more timid, and it's like it's not it's acknowledged, and so you could see how these societal things get ingrained, and you almost have to fight through them. And it's great that your background in sports too, I think, also helps build up that confidence and assertiveness, and that you have now. So that's so wonderful. And I think women can also have advantage, female entrepreneurs. The fact that I think some of the strongest networking groups are the women entrepreneur groups that exist, for women, networking with other women, and but also really being able to kind of strut their stuff, in terms of like push through things and take it to the next level. So it's just, I think, getting in tune with those. There's also advantages too, right? And that things that society is telling us, like the conditioning, is all in our heads, right? So it's just a matter of because you are what you think you are, right? You can do what you think. It's all in your, you're capable of anything. If you get your mindset right, then you can achieve whatever you want in life. So, I think that's so wonderful. And that's great that you had, such a powerful role model. And I know that was a difficult time you went through. Obviously, your mom passed away, and you got through that. But you use that to all the positivity of going through that experience to really shine your star in terms of your journey and your entrepreneurship too. So what's the next? So I know that now that over the past year, I've noticed that you're getting to doing a lot more public speaking. You've entered a lot of competitions. I saw you compete at that one event where it was in the boxing ring, and you won that. You went off to Germany, and it seems like you're actually competing in a lot of. You mentioned in that you're also you won an award recently with the 2021 Young Leaders of America's Fellow. So what's next in terms of your public speaking and your those types of engagements? And you've been hosting TV shows and everything. So what's is that a focus right now for you?
Yeah. So, whenever before I started FanSaves, I had actually moved back to Cornwall after my mom passed away. And for years I'd been growing my marketing career, but I'd kind of been chasing the hosting dream of being on TV. I did my postgrad in broadcast journalism, and it kind of took coming back home to where I grew up to finally get on to get a show, and that was wonderful. But FanSaves actually got so busy in 20 well, I believe it was 2019, but I kept going with it for a while. But it got so busy that I had to give it up. But during that time, we started pitching. So our first like real live pitch was June 1st, actually. I remember that. It was 2018. And we lost. We did not win. And we didn't win for a very long time. But we kept going. And we really kind of were a big part of the pitching circuit. We pitched for, I believe we've pitched like over 30 times. And We won a big one. We won a big $100,000 startup competition. We won the one in Ottawa at the collab space, getting the ring. But there were a lot of times when we didn't win, and I think it comes back to like the competitive nature of Chris and I. Again, we both grew up playing hockey, where it was like we need to keep practicing and to keep getting better, and we need to win. So we eventually did start winning, and we definitely pitch a lot less these days. We've kind of not outgrown it, but when we do pitch, it's now we're pitching to investors. We're doing our seed round. So we save our energy for the pitches that bring in the real money. So it's kind of changed, but that experience, I definitely wouldn't change it, because when I got our brand out, people started knowing who we were because of those pitches. We got to meet so many great people, like the networking opportunities that came with it. And then, yeah, it really prepared us for this seed round that we just opened. And that's really what our focus is on right now. And yeah, I am, definitely growing my public speaking repertoire and getting back in, well, I guess, changing from television and now wanting to really do more stages and I guess virtual speaking as well. So it's funny. I believe everything happens for a reason, and everything that I've learned along the way has kind of led me here.
No, that's excellent. I wanted to ask you, Shan, speaking of, the fact that you've done so many pitches. So what is the art and science of a successful pitch? What are things to, say, if someone was going to go on to Dragon's Den or something, what should they keep in mind before they pitch, in order to be successful?
I think what I've learned along the way is like to be very concise, but also pitch your business or your idea the way that you would explain it to a 5-year-old, like to a class of kindergartners, because so many times people like I've not only pitched it feels like a million times, but at each of those pitches I've watched feels like a million pitches. And so many people, because you're in your business, you understand the jargon, you understand every little piece, of your business. But when you're pitching, you have to recognize that the audience has no clue what you're talking about, so you have to really dumb it down. And I find once we started doing that, it started helping. And I think that, really talking about the problem, the solution, those things sometimes, and defining what those are. What was your problem? What made you create this idea or this business service or product? And then focusing on the solution. Also, it depends. If you're pitching at an event, you might not really get into your, financials very deeply. You might not get into a deep ask, but you always should have an ask at the end, even if you're not asking for investment. Ask people to follow you on social or connect with you by email. I think a lot of people forget that ask at the end, and I think that does make a difference. So, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Your team slide is really important. Yeah, and I think it's so funny to look back at like our first couple decks to where we are now. Keep those decks, keep them, because you'll want to look back at them and see how far you've come down the road.
Okay. And what about going into a pitch? I mean, how important is confidence for when you pitch event, and then your mindset. So how do you prepare your mindset before you pitch an event at an event?
Yeah. So for the bulk of our pitches, I've done it alone. Chris and I did do a couple of pitches at the beginning, both of us. But he suffered from a lot of concussions in his hockey days, so he kind of left it up to me. And I kind of proudly stood up to the task. But he's gotten a million times better. He can pitch on his own now any day. So proud of him for that. But yeah, I mean, even though I'm like a speaker and TV host, I'm innately like a shy person. So, whenever I have to get myself ready to go pitch, someone told me something that was really good. They said, if you don't get nervous before you pitch or before you speak, it means you really don't care enough. So I was like, okay, that means I care. So if you do get nervous or you do get a little the jitters or some stage fright, that just means that you care. So when I think about it that way, I just think, okay, this means I really care. There's also like it's I'm sure people who speak a lot have know the actual term, but it's like the superwoman or superman pose, and you stand with your hands on your hips and your head held high and backstage, and you take a couple minutes and you stand, and it's psychologically helps you get into the moment and get that confidence. So I do that 100%. Not that, maybe not when I'm on a Zoom call, but whenever there's people in the audience, you can definitely find me backstage doing that. And just like, I think that so many people get in their heads before they pitch. I always just think I'm just human. Like if I screw up, just keep going. So I hear people like if they screw up, they're like, sorry, sorry, sorry. Like, why are you apologizing? Right? Like, okay, we get it. Just keep going. Just keep going. So um just everyone feels those jitters. Everyone's nervous. You know your company best, and just practice makes perfect. And don't memorize every single word. Just know your product, talk to your product, know your slides, and talk to that. Because if you memorize every single word, you're gonna get lost if you forget uh, a certain word or anything like that. So yeah, just know your business and believe in yourself.
No, that's great. And you mentioned, yeah, practice, knowing your business, and getting into a stance, or you have a routine. I used to play varsity football, and going into those games, we had like a lot of people in these states, and it'd be a lot of pressure. So I used to like listen to music and just kind of try to relax myself and get in the sort of the mindset, prepare yourself to go into that, and to just take deep breathing. I find helps as well. So yeah, it's a whole other preparation to deal with high pressure situations. So yeah, and I saw you present it in the ring, and I thought it was fantastic. You had great energy. I knew, like, we knew that you won that after hearing the presentations, right? So it's a lot to psychological. You have to almost having the mindset you're going to win this event too, right? You got to be confident in yourself, and as you say, not get in your head about too much. So yes, this has been fantastic, Shannon, and you're going to be co-hosting at Adapt and Overcome 2021 on June 19th. We're super excited to have you at that event, and the fact that you empower women, and you're all about entrepreneurship and public speaking. I think it's going to be fantastic. So excited to have you there, and it's been so great to listen to your story today. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up this call?
No, I mean, you've said it all. You said it best. Just really excited to be co-hosting with you, and I'm really looking forward to the event. There's going to be so many great people there, and I love surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me. So
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing event because people are, entrepreneurs get to network. You're gonna get so much value from the presentations. We have doctors, neuroscientists, so a lot of experts. We have James McNeil's fantastic speaker on mindset visualization. I just think it's going to be an incredible event. And so excited about that to host it with you, Shannon. And we're, this is going to be a fantastic Saturday on the 19th. So again, it's been fantastic to have you with us, Shannon Ferguson of FanSaves, and we'll see you soon at Adapt and Overcome 2021.